Back we are, Exegesis in Genesis, lecture 22, part 2. We had a good break and ate some good food. Have you eaten yet? You may want to. Chapter 36, verse 1. Now these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom. Esau took his wives of the daughters of Canaan, Adah, the daughter of Elam the Hittite, and Aholibamah, my favorite female name, the daughter of Anah, the daughter of Zibeon, the Hivite. And Bashemath, Ishmael's daughter, sister of Nebajoth, and Adah bare to Esau Eliphaz, and Bashemath bare Reuel, and Aholibamah bare Jewish, and Jalem, and Korah. These are the sons of Esau, which were born unto him in the land of Canaan. And Esau took his wives, and his sons, and his daughters, and all the persons of his house, and his cattle, and all his beasts, and all his substance, which he had got in the land of Canaan, and went into the country from the face of his brother Jacob. For their riches were more than that they might dwell together, and the land wherein they were strangers could not bear them because of their cattle. Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom. So what's the reason why Esau had to move away, or they didn't work together? Because?
Too much stuff.
Too much stuff, cattle and everything for the space they had. So he went elsewhere. Kind of like Abraham and Lot, in a way. So it wasn't that they weren't getting along. It was they had too much stuff. That's all I have there. We have less comments, as you see, as we go on here. But you'll see why. I'm going to read these because you're going to, not that you're not good at reading these things, but if anyone's going to totally bomb it, it'll be me. So here we go. I may stop and help. What I'll do is on hard words, I'll stop and see what you have to say. So be ready.
My mouth was full.
Yeah, your mouth's going to be full the whole time. Now these are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomites in Mount Seir. These are the names of Esau's sons. Eliphaz, the son of Adah, the wife of Esau. Reuel, the son of Bashemath, the wife of Esau. The sons of Eliphaz were Timon, Omar, and Zepho, and Gatam, and Kenaz. And Timnah was concubine to Eliphaz, Esau's son. And she bare to Eliphaz Amalek. These were the sons of Adah, Esau's wife. And these are the sons of Reuel, Nahath, Zerah, and Shammah, and Mizah. These were the sons of Bashemath, Esau's wife. And these were the sons of Aholibamah, the daughter of Anah, the daughter of Zibeon, Esau's wife. And she bare to Esau Jewish, how do you say it? Jewish, there we go, Jeush. I like that better. And Jalem and Korah. These were the dukes of the sons of Esau, the sons of Eliphaz, the firstborn son of Esau. Duke Timon, Duke Omar, Duke Zepho, Duke Kenaz, Duke Korah, Duke Gatam, and Duke Amalek. These are the dukes that came of Eliphaz in the land of Edom. These were the sons of Adah. And these are the sons of Reuel, Esau's son. Duke Nahath, Duke Zerah, Duke Shammah, Duke Mizah. These are the dukes that came of Reuel in the land of Edom. And these are the sons of Bashemath, Esau's wife. And these are the sons of Aholibamah, Esau's wife. Duke Jeush.
They're Jewish. Umbrella.
Okay.
Jeush.
Duke Jalem, Duke Korah. These were the dukes that came of Aholibamah, the daughter of Anah, Esau's wife. These are the sons of Esau, who is Edom, and these are their dukes. What's a duke? Chieftain or a leader, and there's other titles, but that's kind of what it is. Doesn't mean they have, it's not part of a priesthood or anything other than they're been kind of ordained a duke. Hey, duke. So, Aholibamah. Neat name. I actually considered that name for my daughter Amethyst. It's one of the three. I'm glad I didn't take that because we've got Obama in there and Aholibamah. Interesting. You know, over there in Mexico, in the Las Tuces, the little country town, Ranchero, one of the families there named their new dog Obama. Strange. Let's go on. I don't know if you'll help me here either. These are the sons of Seir the Horite, who inhabited the land: Lotan, and Shobal, and Zibeon, and Anah, and Dishon, and Ezer, and Dishan. These are the dukes of Horites, children of Seir, in the land of Edom. And the children of Lotan were Hori and Heman. And Lotan's sister was Timnah. And the children of Shobal were these: Alvan, and Manahath, and Ebal, and Shepho. It's like Zepho. Shepho and Onam. And these are the children of Zibeon, both Ajah and Anah. This was that Anah that found the mules in the wilderness, and he fed the asses of Zibeon, his father. The children of Anah were these: Dishon and Aholibamah, the daughter of Anah. And these are the children of Dishon: Himdan, and Eshban, and Ithran, and Sharon. The children of Ezer are these: Bilhan and
Zeavan.
And Agan. The children of Dishan are these: Uz and Aaron. These are the dukes that came of the Horites: Duke Lotan, Duke Shobal, Duke Zibeon, Duke Anah, Duke Dishon, Duke Ezer, Duke Dishan. These are the dukes that came of Hori among their dukes in the land of Seir. So, I don't have that portion of Scripture memorized, by the way. And these are the kings that reigned in the land of Edom before there reigned any king over the children of Israel. And Bela, the son of Beor, reigned in Edom. The name of his city was Dinhaba. Sounds good. And Bela died, and Jobab, one of my favorite names, Jobab, the son of Zerah of Basra, reigned in his stead. And Jobab died, and Husham of the land of Temanai reigned in his stead. And Husham died, and Hadad, the son of Bedad, who smote Midian in the field of Moab, reigned in his stead. And the name of his city was Avith. And Hadad died, and Samlah of Masrika reigned in his stead. And Samlah died, and Saul of Rehoboth by the river reigned in his stead. And Saul died, and Baal-Hanan, the son of Akbor, reigned in his stead. And Baal-Hanan, the son of Akbor, died, and Hadar reigned in his stead. And the name of his city was Pau. And his wife's name was Mehetabel, the daughter of Matred, the daughter of Mezahab. Of course, we know her very well. Yikes, that was a tough one, huh? Well, the balance of this chapter in Genesis, he writes, seems likely to have been added later by Moses, who appended it to the basic generations of Esau document, which Jacob had transmitted. Well, that's what he says, so I don't know. Could be true. Something to think about. The names are those of kings and chieftains in Edom long after the time of Esau, and continuing to be about the time of Moses. So here's some kings as he recounts these generations. Someone help me here. Read 40, someone.
And these are the names of the dukes that came of Esau, according to their families, after their places, by their names: Duke Timnah, Duke Alva, Duke Jetheth, Duke Aholibamah. So Aholibamah is
keep reading.
A man or a woman.
Just keep reading.
Duke Elah, Duke Pinon, Duke Kenaz, Duke Teman, Duke Mibzar, Duke Magdiel, Duke Iram. These be the dukes of Edom, according to their habitations in the land of their possession. He is Esau, the father of the Edomites.
And your question is correct. There's a different Aholibamah. According to what he said, I didn't write it all out.
Well, no, I mean, over there wasn't it a woman?
Yeah,
But was it spelled the same?
Yes, I believe so.
Huh.
So it's a different person, and the ones before was female, as we know, daughter. And here, to be a duke, you got to be a guy. So unless they had a gender change operation,
Great.
which today might happen, but just found out, as you already said, that colleges are now on board with having in the student health care plan being covered for gender change operations. What a lovely thing they can do for these 19 and 20-year-old confused kids. I am so confused. Will you pay for me to become I don't know, I want to be a rhinoceros. Well, of course not that, but how bizarre. What is our world coming to? Where you can just have as elective surgeries. Of course it's going to be elective. To have your different the private area is basically changed. And the student health care plan will cover it.
I think it's covered in a lot of prisons, too.
Well, a lovely country we live in. Huh? Let's go on. Genesis 37. And Jacob dwelt in the land wherein his father was a stranger, in the land of Canaan. These are the generations of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brethren, and the lad was with the sons of Bilhah, and with the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives. And Joseph brought unto his father their evil report. Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age. And he made him a coat of many colors. Someone finish?
And when his brethren saw that their father loved him more than all his brethren, they hated him and could not speak peaceably unto him.
Well, I can kind of understand that. They shouldn't hate him, but kind of set up here. So as we go into the story that you know pretty well, don't read on, but the one question is, was Joseph in the wrong for his, I guess, bragging, these dreams, these visions, and saying all this? Or was it ordained of God? Or was it kind of a combination? Or what was going on here? Now, Dr. Morris takes a totally different stand than
I
I
thought he
would.
was oblivious, but
So, no, okay. Anyone want to make a statement? She says, what, Joseph was oblivious to it all?
To the fact that he was irritating his brothers.
yeah.
Okay.
That's what I
Yeah, otherwise he's got 11 brothers, or 10 brothers.
And they're all older than him, and he's,
He's just a 17-year-old kid,
yeah.
protected by Daddy and Daddy's favorite. This, we believe, constitutes a concluding statement and the signature of Jacob's long record, beginning with Genesis 25, it says. So that's something you can think about. Don't know. I don't know. I just put that in there because it's interesting. Though Joseph was a great man, Dr. Morris writes, he hardly attained the spiritual stature of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So what do you think about that? Is Joseph kind of, in your mind, kind of almost like these patriarchal line of great men of God that we read about? Or is he just kind of a secondary dude? You're reading on. Don't read on. Reading on is cheating. And you'll get an F on your test. Not really. So what do you think about Joseph? You can stare at me with those eyes. That's okay. What do you think he is a great man of God? Just an interesting man of God? Or we'll go on here.
Well,
I'm not getting
great.
Yeah,
He's a great man of God.
Great.
Great.
Yeah.
I think of him up there.
Yes.
And I know he's not like a patriarch like Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, but in a way he is because of how he's included here, and he's the
And
next.
he's given the double portion, and
Yeah, he's the next big guy on campus as we read through Genesis.
just not in the line of Christ.
Right. So then we deal with typology, and let's see what he says here. So he didn't attain the spiritual stature of these other guys. God never actually appeared to him, as far as we know. Nor were the covenant promises given to him in any special way. Though there was a blessing placed upon him, and it's a rather nice blessing, as we've already, we will read. I've already read this recently in my Bible reading. His personal character, while morally pure, he says, was marred by spiritual pride. Well, there could be some pride there, or just, what would you call it, young foolishness, or just not being very discerning.
Yeah, I think that's it. Because he just sort of figured, well, this is what God showed me, everybody else ought to know it too.
And what I think God showed him this, and this is a huge thing that God showed him. This is a big thing. I think it was right in God's will for him to be shown this, or to say this, but here he goes on. Many commentators have considered Joseph to be an almost perfect type of Christ. However, the New Testament nowhere speaks of Joseph as a type of Christ, Dr. Morris writes.
I've always taught it that way.
I forget where it is. Oh, at the next 5 on, and at the bottom of my comments, he writes, Dr. Morris comments that these dreams most likely were not from the Lord, and that Joseph was wrong for sharing them with his brethren. That's what it says. I know.
What's wrong with this guy?
What are we using this book? Throw it out. Well, he can make these comments, and sometimes, in my view, he'll be totally wrong. And other times, in my view, he'll be possibly right. I just never thought of that. Interesting. And other times, totally on board. So, but am I the decider of what's right and wrong? No, I'm not. On test I am, yes. Yeah, on test I am. But all you got to know is what are in the notes. I'm not trying to teach you what's right. I just want to teach you what's in my notes. Jacob's showing of favoritism to Joseph ended up in being very harmful for Joseph. But God worked it all out for good. I would agree with my statement there, because Jacob should have not shown this favoritism, at least so much so that his brothers, or his sons, hated that child. And so you have to be careful, online students, with your, as I said a few lectures ago, with your family members, your kids. You're going to have a favorite. We always do. We don't like to admit it. We'll have that favorite. If you just have one, okay, it's the favorite. But 2, 3, 4, 5 kids, there's going to be that one that you bond with the most. And there's the second one. There's that black sheep, the one you just can't seem to get along with. Oftentimes that one comes around being most like you at the end. It's interesting how that works. That's why I don't bond well. Verse 5, I'll read it, and then someone read 6 and 7. And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it his brethren. And they hated him yet more. And he said unto them, Hear, I pray you, this dream which I have dreamed.
For behold, we were binding sheaves in the field, and lo, my sheaf arose, and also stood upright. And behold, your sheaf stood round about, making obeisance to my sheaf. And his brothers said unto him, Shalt thou indeed reign over us? Or shalt thou indeed have dominion over us? And they hated him yet the more for his dreams and for his words.
Yes.
Well, it certainly came to pass.
Right. That's exactly right. And they should have listened to him. At first they might have said, what's this young guy saying here? But if they were wise and discerning and had the Spirit of God upon their lives, they would have said, or they would have thought, hey, this could be a prophecy from God. But they were in the flesh, and you know the story, or we will see more on it. Joseph dreamed a dream and told his brothers of it. It dealt with his future reigning over his brothers, which did indeed come true. I just wanted to summarize that. I know you know it, but there it is in red. Nice and neat. So be careful not to boast about your spirituality, about your insights in things. We have to be careful, even in the class here, and even as a teacher, to not sound boasting. To not sound like, I know it. Oh, I know it. Oh, I know it. I know that we want to be like when the hard question comes up, who knows the answer? Oh, I do. But in a way that's boasting. It's a hard one, huh? And so it's great when you know the answer, though. Or when you have the keen insight. Oh, I think it's this. And I want you to be thinking that way, but be careful how you present it. And one way is to say, I don't know that much, but one thought I had was this. That's a little smoother out instead of saying, oh, I know what's right. I know the answer to this. This is what it means. And then you come across braggadocious, especially it's bad if you're wrong. I've done that many times. Many times. And my lovely students here, beloved students, correct me behind the scenes, or sometimes on the scene, with the correct answer, and I was wrong. I just don't like to admit it. I stomp my feet. I give them F's on the next test. Be careful not to boast, yes. Because people may hate you because of it. That's one reason not to boast. Was Joseph following the leading of God here and telling his brothers of his dreams? What do you think? You can look up and think.
The facts of them.
So do you think it was God's will for him to discuss this?
Maybe not.
Well, how he discussed it may have not been tactful.
Okay,
but sharing it, if he felt like it was a true insight from God, then I guess he should have been sharing it.
So that's as far as you're going to go on that little... Anybody else?
I don't know the answer, I don't know the answer.
I know! No, I believe, in my humble opinion, that it was God's will. Because it's a big deal. It's not just some silly dream about nothing of importance here. It's a huge deal. Anybody else after that statement?
Well, I just recently read the rest of the story in my Bible reading,
Yeah.
and so I should probably just not say anything.
Go ahead.
Well, I mean, then when he told the second dream to his father,
Be there in a moment.
he said, well, maybe there is something to this.
Yeah.
But he also did work.
He observed it. So, well, we know that these come true, and it was a huge deal, and we read many chapters here about it. Several chapters at least.
If God sent me, I mean, wasn't even angry with his brothers, he said.
Right.
God, you were, you did this to me for evil, but God meant it for good,
Yeah.
and,
Amen. Well, I believe it was God's will, and I believe that Joseph wasn't saying it to boast or brag. I think he was lacking discernment as a young punk kid. And the brothers were in the flesh, at least most of them, if not all of them, and let's go on. And he dreamed yet another dream, and told it his brethren, and said, Behold, I have dreamed a dream more. Behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obeisance to me. And he told it to his father and to his brethren, and his father rebuked him, and said unto him, What is this dream that thou hast dreamed? Shall I and thy mother and thy brethren indeed come to bow down ourselves to thee to the earth? And his brethren envied him. But his father observed the same. Reminds me of someone in the New Testament. Mary. Several times observed, kept it in her heart, or said it. Very much like that. And what do you think that means? In Europe, my words are there, but what do you think he observed the same means?
Kind of like in the back of his mind. I mean, he may not be like he didn't totally understand it, and yet he felt like, I think there's some significance here that I need to remember this.
Good.
Yeah, he paid attention to it.
Yeah.
Said, wait.
Yeah, so there might be some truth to this. This isn't just some silly, even though at first he was very offended by it. It was, in a way, disrespectful to Daddy, the leader of the tribe, the group, to say that you can be bowing down to me, Dad. It's like talking to your boss or your pastor saying, someday you're going to be bowing down to me.
Well, and that's probably another way he could have gone about it, as opposed to with either of the dreams. His first telling his brother is, to go to his dad. He's only 17.
Yeah.
To go to his dad and say, Dad, I'm having these dreams. What do you think they mean? And, discussing with him before he.
Yeah. Instead of calling a family meeting, I must tell you these wonderful dreams I've had.
But I don't think that he was really that aware that they were all jealous of him. Yeah. I don't think he,
At 17, we think of 17-year-olds today a little different than I think he was. He was more mature in some ways than 17-year-olds today, and less mature. He wasn't so wise to the world, but he was more mature and probably acted very responsible. But it is just some wisdom things you gain being out there in the world, and just it's like homeschool kids versus kids that are out in the streets. Homeschool kids don't really know what goes on out there, and I'm glad they don't. But things you just don't, you lack wisdom on because of that. All right, let's go on. Do we want to finish this one? Yeah, let's just do it. There's not that many comments. So, if you will, we'll continue on. And with verse where we're at, 12. And his brethren went to feed their father's flock in Shechem. And Israel said unto Joseph, Do not thy brethren feed the flock in Shechem? Come, and I will send thee unto them. And he said to him, Here am I. And he said to him, Go, I pray thee, see whether it be well with thy brethren, and well with the flocks, and bring me word again. Someone's going to read 15 on. So he sent him out of the vale of Hebron, and he came to Shechem. Someone finished?
And a certain man found him, and behold, he was wandering in the field. And the man asked him, saying, What seekest thou? And he said, I seek my brethren. Tell me, I pray thee, where they feed their flocks. And the man said, They are departed from hence, for I heard them say, Let us go to Dothan. And Joseph went after his brethren and found them in Dothan.
Okay, according to Dr. Morris, so I just reworded it, the brethren had strayed up to about 50 miles from where Jacob was. So they were quite a ways away. Think about this, look up, think about this. So they're a ways, they were supposed to be in this one place, about 15 miles or so away, but they ended up being maybe 50 miles away. And it's been way past the due date for them maybe coming back. What do you think's going on there? Anything?
I think they're goofing off.
What?
Goofing off.
Just being kids, young men, or is there something more?
They're not that young, though.
Okay, so
they're grown men.
Just not concerned about nothing, nothing of significance. Well, try and think of something of significance that might be. What's been going on here? they're upset with Joseph, and they're probably upset with Dad a little bit. Well, that's my thinking at least. Jacob owned property there, Dr. Morris said. So they were on, because I wondered when I first read it a few weeks ago, when I went through this, or a week ago, are they just on other people's property and having them eat? How does that work? I didn't know this part. The brethren were probably upset with both Joseph and their father, and thus were purposefully staying far away from them for an extended period of time to show them a thing or two. That's my thought. If you don't like it, well, it's not in red, so you...
Well, Jacob was a little oblivious too. Because what was he doing sending Joseph to check up on him? You know,
and they all hate him.
And, I mean, so he's oblivious to that too.
There's a lot of obliviousness, and it's a good point here. All those that have had kids and have kids grow up, especially in their teen years and adult years, we can become oblivious to the huge problems going on with our dear child right under our noses. Why is Billy so, he's just not talking to us much? I don't know, just going through a stage, I guess. Yeah, I guess going through a stage. And then, well, Billy's starting to do drugs. Billy's into pornography. Billy's thinking of committing suicide. Billy's hanging out with the wrong crowd and totally oblivious to it. Get involved in their lives. I know they won't want you to. Force yourselves in there, but be nice. But force yourselves into their world. No closed doors. No secrets. Know where they go. Hang out with them. Homeschool them. Amen? 18. And when they saw him afar off, even before he came near unto them... Oh, sorry. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry, 3 times there. When they saw him afar off, even before he came near unto them, they conspired against him to slay him. So read 19 and 20.
And they said to one another, Behold, this dreamer cometh. Come now, therefore, and let us slay him, and cast him into some pit. And we will say, Some evil beast hath devoured him, and we shall see what become of his dreams.
And Reuben heard it, and he delivered him out of their hands, and said, Let us not kill him. And Reuben said unto them, Shed no blood, but cast him into this pit that is in the wilderness, and lay no hand upon him, that he might rid him out of their hands to deliver him to his father again. So what do you think about Reuben here? Look up and think about that.
Reuben was going to try to get him out of there and help him.
Yeah. So Reuben, you think was all doing a good thing here?
I think Reuben was as irked with him as anybody, but realized that slaying him was probably going a bit too far.
Yeah.
And he was certainly the oldest, so he should have been the most responsible.
I mean, they must have really hated him. To slay their own blood. To slay some other person maybe, but their own blood, killing someone. Wow. This is different back then, I guess. You know, you never know how far one will go when they hate you. Or when you hate someone, how far you will go. Hatred is in the spirit of murder. Be careful. Well, I just dislike him. I don't hate him, I dislike him. Well, then you cross that line, and it's hatred. And wow. Even to the point of murder. Reuben, of all the brothers, Dr. Morris writes, would seem to have the most cause to resent Joseph, since Jacob obviously intended to give Joseph the birthright instead of him, who would be the oldest son.
Well, yeah.
Well, that's what Dr. Morris says. You're going to argue with Dr.
Yes.
Henry Morris. Okay, she is. She's going toe-to-toe with him. So, interesting. But Reuben is the oldest.
He's already lost the birthright anyway,
Yeah.
and he probably knows it because he slept with Bilhah.
Yeah. So maybe that doesn't figure in. It might. But Reuben's the oldest. Joseph is almost the youngest. But Reuben's from a different mommy. That whole deal going on. But Reuben makes the right decision here. And I'm not saying 9 of the others were wanting to kill him, but there's probably maybe Simeon and Levi eating it up. Who knows? Well, let's go on here. Reuben tried to protect Joseph, to some degree at least. Later, Joseph would repay him this favor, as I read from Dr. Morris, by holding Simeon, the next older brother, rather than Reuben. So we go on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah! I like that statement. I was jumping for that one. That one was good. She's having intestinal gas over it, and I thought it was good. Good stuff. This doesn't ring true to her, so it's just she's going to be chewing on that for another couple hours here, but that's all right. It's in red. Oh no. And it came to pass, when Joseph was come unto his brethren, that they stripped Joseph out of his coat of many colors that was on him. And they took him and cast him into a pit. And the pit was empty, there was no water in it. And they sat down to eat bread. And they lifted up their eyes and looked, and behold, a company of Ishmaelites came from Gilead with their camels, bearing spicery and balm and myrrh, going to carry it down to Egypt. Someone do 26, 27.
And Judah said unto his brethren, What profit is it if we slay our brother and conceal his blood? Come, and let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother and our flesh. And his brethren were content.
Then there passed by Midianites, merchantmen, and they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit, and sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver, and they brought Joseph into Egypt. So, a couple things here. What do you think about Judah on this case? Judah comes in here and says, hey guys.
Well, if they were
Make
still...
a profit instead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think he was really concerned about his brother not dying and came up with this neat idea? Or was he just, okay, maybe, let's make some money out of this dude?
Yeah.
I think he was all for making money out of it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's go on here. It is probable that Reuben had forfeited much of his authority in his brother's eyes by his sin with Bilhah. Didn't seem to respect him too much. Simeon was a strong-minded, moral, little transposition there, moral zealot, as the affair at Shechem had demonstrated, and he no doubt was a chief voice among the brothers on this occasion. I wrote, how cold for them to be eating bread while their younger brother was crying below for help. I mean, threw him in a pit with no water and he's crying. I mean, that probably hurt. How deep do you think the pit was?
Deep enough he couldn't get out.
Yeah,
Well,
so,
plus they were talking about killing him.
yeah.
You know, so
8, 10, 12 feet deep or more. He probably got hurt down there as he hit. And it's nasty. Who knows what critters are down there? No water. And then they're up there eating. Let's eat. How cold! Was Judah being protective of his brother here, or was he profiteering? I think both. Mm-hmm. That's my stance.
Hmm.
Both Ishmael, Dr. Morris says, and Midian were sons of Abraham, and their respective descendants were often together. That's why you see these two names here, he says, and they're both the same. One and the same. Midianites, Ishmaelites, not two separate groups coming through. Okay. Huh? What?
I don't understand that statement.
Okay, well you look at 27, let's sell them to the Ishmaelites, and then 28 says the Midianites came through, and then they sold them to the Ishmaelites. Which was it?
All the same.
It's one of those contradictions, so-called, in Scripture. So, and Reuben returned into the pit, and behold, Joseph was not in the pit, and he rent his clothes. And he returned unto his brother and said, the child is not, and I, whither shall I go? And they took Joseph's coat, and killed a kid of the goats, and dipped the coat in the blood. And they sent the coat of many colors, and they brought it to their father, and said, this have we found. Know now whether it be thy son's coat or no. And he knew it, and said, it is my son's coat. An evil beast hath devoured him. Joseph is without doubt rent in pieces. And Jacob rent his clothes, and put sackcloth upon his loins, and mourned for his son many days. And all his sons and all his daughters rose up to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. And he said, for I will go down into the grave unto my son mourning. Thus his father wept for him. And the Midianites sold him into Egypt unto Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh's and captain of the guard. And we could have commented a bit here, but these comments will fit more in next week's lecture. All right, thank you very much. We're ahead of schedule. Some of these guys are going to be taking a test on doctrines in the book of John.